routine flight between Sydney and LA for Oceanic Flight 815 until... Now, lost on a mysterious island, the survivors have more to fear than survival itself.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You killed us all.
Nothing is real!
Namaste, thank you, and good luck.
I think your friends just blew themselves up, brother.
I just saved us all.
I've got to go, and you've got to get as far away from here as possible.
Go where? Stop!
I'm gonna blow it down, Tom.
Who are you people? We're the good guys, Michael.
You push the button. That's an order.
All we really need to survive is one person who truly loves us.
Miss Whitmore, I think we found it.
This is the Lost Initiative from Sky One.
Hello, I'm Ian Lee, and this is The Lost Initiative, the UK's official download show for Lost. Now, we've just watched episode 14, Exposé, and we're basking in the aftermath of the return of all those old faces and the horror of Nikki and Paolo being buried alive. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes or so while we give this episode a thorough probing and take a look at the emails you've been sending to lost@sky1.co.uk.
The Lost Initiative.
I'm joined, as always, by Paul Terry, editor of Lost magazine. Hello.
Hello.
And by our infrequent contributor, it's Geeky Tom.
I missed 1 week. 1 week because I was on holiday. And you phoned up and spoiled it for me as well, so thank you very much.
He only missed the Lost Initiative last week. Tom was on holiday. We phoned him up and we told him... What did we tell him, Paul?
Oh, it's only some small white lie about Jin.
We told you
Jin being dead, yeah. Jin got shot. I think that was it.
No, we just said he died.
Oh, right, yeah. That was good.
We didn't get your thoughts on last week's episode. Very briefly, before we move on to episode 14, this week's episode, what did you think about the whole Locke's dad being on the island, blowing up the submarine?
I don't think he blew up the submarine. Yeah, he's gone and hidden it somewhere.
Okay, now that's interesting you say that.
Why?
You're talking about, obviously, him coming back soaking wet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what would he have blown up then? Not the end of the pier or something?
Well, I think that he's Locke. He can destroy, he can blow up, he can make bombs. He's blatantly set up some kind of AIM team device at the end of the pier.
Okay, well, that's cool, yeah.
I'm not sure about the whole magic box thing.
Yes, just before we started recording this, you were swearing about the magic box.
I just think it's a load of rubbish.
It's not a literal box, though.
I know, it better not be.
It's not going to be a box.
Yeah.
Wish and ye shall receive. It's more spiritual than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Spiritual, do I? I like science.
Okay. And Locke's dad
came out of the magic box, didn't he?
I think he's the mastermind behind the whole thing. He's there voluntarily.
Well, no, I just think they've got more contact with the outside world than we actually know.
You think they've actually kidnapped Locke's dad?
Yeah, I think they might have done.
You're wrong. It's all this is what we were saying last week. It's all a long con.
Yeah.
And we were saying, did you come up with this, Paul? That or maybe it was one of the callers.
No, one of the fans had a really bizarre. Well, they did an anagram thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Of the names. And what was the anagram came out as? Something about.
I don't know. I was hoping you.
It was Anthony Cooper. Blah blah blah. And a few other words came out as Sawyer, like I am the real Sawyer.
We think that Locke's dad is the real Sawyer.
Yeah, no, I think that too.
Well, you didn't say it though. So you mean you only think it after we said it?
Well, no. Yeah, let's start this episode. Yeah.
Okay, well. Episode 14, a Paolo and Nikki episode. I've got to be honest, I've not been a fan of them since it was announced before this series started that there were going to be 2 new people in it, 2 regular cast members. Were you excited to know it was a Nikki and a Paolo episode?
I think everybody was intrigued about how that would be handled. How would you actually handle 2 of the kind of background characters and giving them their own episode and, like a double flashback? I feel
it's a bit like it's like Star Wars though. It's like the first 3 episodes. They're really contrived and don't actually fit in with the whole kind of ethos of the whole series.
You're talking about Nikki and Paolo themselves as opposed to this episode.
But I don't think anyone can say anything against the way that they weave them into the whole pilot episode. That footage was ridiculous. We're watching it thinking, that was amazing how they did that.
Okay, it was... We'll get onto that a bit later on, but we do finally discover who Nikki and Paolo are and what they're doing on the island, which is all neatly summed up by Hurley at their funeral.
Nikki and Paolo. I guess we didn't really know you very well. And it appears you killed each other for diamonds. But I know there are good parts to you, too. You're always nice to me. And you remember the camp. And I really loved Exposé. Okay then. Goodbye.
So, they're buried alive?
Yeah, harsh.
Are they actually dead? Because it's a great bit where he throws that sand on and their eyes are open and...
Well, I've no idea how you'd survive that. I mean, it's a good 3 feet of sand, and surely you choke on it straight away. Your eyes are open. They're still breathing. They're still breathing very shallowly.
Locke tells Paolo early on that things don't stay buried on this island.
You think that's a foreshadowing of something else?
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping. Shall I tell you how I interpret it? It was a brilliant episode, I thought. Very well done. Pointless in the great scheme of the Lost story. Ultimately pointless, just very clever and showing, the skills of what they can do. But I kind of get the feeling that the network that made this read that the fans weren't that into Nicky and Paolo and thought, we made a bit of a mistake here, let's get rid of them.
But wait, if they'd started the whole Nicky and Paolo thing with that episode...
Yeah.
And actually weave them into the pilot, I think there wouldn't have been such an uproar with just 2 random people turning up and going, oh, yeah.
What do you mean? What, having them...
Actually,
the actors from...
A bit of backstory showing that they were actually...
The first time we saw them, as opposed to just dropping them.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Right, you want that episode of it... part of it to have been aired earlier on in season 3?
Well, just first, before we meet them, as in like a proper... Just to prove that they're actually there type
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Because...
are they going to come back?
I think they will do.
You think they'll come back?
You don't think they do?
Well, only because, if you're Mr. Science, I mean, if you're buried under 3 feet of sand and you're breathing, then you're going to choke to death, aren't you? So how will you come back?
Dig your way out?
But how?
How?
The opportunity she had to dig herself out was when she woke up at the end. And
she could hold her breath for 30 seconds.
30 seconds? It would take you about at least half an hour to cover those bodies in sand.
But she can crawl, dig, slide out.
It's actually doing a crawl.
It's the mime of a mole.
Yeah,
I like it.
Moles do it.
Well, listen, shall we try and get our Lost exclusive in early this week?
Yeah.
Paul Terry, editor of Lost magazine, you have contact with Americans who I believe are responsible for the TV series Lost, aren't
Technology is amazing what you can do these days, yeah.
Here's a question, yes or no answer. Do you know what happens for the rest of the series?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you know what happens a few weeks ahead of us? Do you have a vague idea what happens?
A few bits and pieces.
Okay,
you sound tasty.
Are we going to hear from Nicky and Paolo again?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Personally speaking, I think that they're under that amount of sand, they must be dead. But, this is Lost. And
how about officially
maybe
speaking?
I like the fact that you picked up on that lock line about, nothing stays buried.
Yes,
so maybe there'll be...
That,
I mean, we've seen, Christian Shepherd appearing and he's supposed to be dead, he's supposed to be in a coffin. So,
I think that now they've actually written some proper backstory for them, they're justifying that, maybe giving them a few more episodes. Listening in to the others in the
I think it would be weird if they did, as you say, kind of come out zombified or something.
They're not going to come out zombified.
Like in Creepshow with Ted Danson. Supposing they are in that catatonic state because of the spider bite.
Yeah.
For 3 or 4 days.
All episodes, let's say.
3 or 4 episodes.
Oh, okay.
And Sawyer or someone goes back to dig up for the diamonds.
Well, maybe, maybe if someone went to dig them up and then saw them all but if they saw their faces all contorted and stressed out, like they were trying to get out, that'd be quite cool.
Little hole.
That'd be quite. Yeah, like they were moving. That would be quite
scary.
Check
their fingernails.
Yeah.
There is speculation that Nicky and Paolo are proof of a time shift. Can I give you the evidence?
Oh, go on. No,
this is either proof of a time shift or proof of it not being such a clever episode as we first thought.
Oh, go on.
Okay, the first thing is they're not seen until season 3. I don't buy that. Nobody seems to know who they are.
Right.
But if there had been a time shift, they would know who they were. Flight 815 left on Wednesday the 22nd of September, but the newspaper that Paolo is reading at the airport is dated Thursday the 24th of September. That doesn't even make sense. That's insane. That's just bad prop.
It's like a 2
It's either a bad prop.
That's a bad prop, or he's reading an old paper.
That's just, yeah.
And there are differences in word order and content of the first and second versions of Jack's Live Together, Die Alone speech. And the words are different.
Who the hell is written in with that complete nonsense?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out who it was and shoot them, damn it.
Oh, no.
But how far do you look into it?
I mean,
are the writers that infallible that they are actually thinking that much?
Yeah, but aren't we just seeing a different version of events from their point of view? So they're just clipping together bits of...
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, Paul, listen, don't take it out on me. I know it's this whole time travel, time shift thing that we talk about. Okay, here's a theory that some idiot has written in with. They're the Adam and Eve on the island.
Oh, of the bodies?
Yes.
I quite like that, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, that's quite smart, I think.
How?
Don't you think?
No.
I don't know how.
Explain it.
No, I can't explain it. Come on.
Then it's not that smart then, is it?
He's good.
Oh, what? Because I can't explain it. It's not smart.
Absolutely.
They should get you working at Guantanamo
Tom,
Bay.
that makes
we get the truth out of those fellas soon enough.
That makes no sense at all. Okay. I like it. It doesn't mean I can explain it. It's intriguing.
There are more references to the monster in this episode, with Jin thinking it was responsible for the deaths, and evidence that Nicky and Paolo have seen it at some point.
How many times do I have to tell you there's no such thing as monsters?
Maybe it was a dinosaur.
It's not Jurassic Park, Paolo. It's the South Pacific.
Then what was it? You saw the trees move.
Would you start focusing? We've been here for 6 days, okay? The Coast Guard is gonna get here any second, and I really don't think that they're gonna take, hey, you know what, I'm looking for my script back, as an excuse for not getting on the rescue boat.
Okay.
Now, when the spiders were coming out to kill Nikki and her teeth, you could hear...
The monster noise!
The monster noise, Geeky Tom.
Let's all do it like a round. You can do like an overlap.
No, we're not performing monkeys.
Yes, you are, because you come back a week late.
Right.
Go on, you can do it good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I know, a bit of an anticlimax.
That's a download ringtone, surely.
Were they a manifestation of the black smoke, Paul Terry?
I think they had to be, surely. That's what all the fans will be debating right now. Because you hear that, and then there's masses of them, loads of the spiders.
So the black... Well, yes, there were a lot. They were very noisy spiders.
It's like the island isn't happy with what's just happened. It's course-correcting.
Well, no, it's not. What it is that she threw the lady spider onto the gentleman, and it emits a sexual pheromone that attracts the spider. Dr. Arts told us that. It's just spiders.
Isn't
it, Tom?
Or is it?
Good science there. No, that's absolutely it.
But then why did you hear the monster noise?
It was probably just licking in, seeing what's going on.
Was it coincidence?
It was just...
Spiders make very little noise, and so it's a television programme, so they put a little bit of noise on. It wasn't exactly the same as the black smoke.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was the sound of what the sound effects guy thinks hundreds of tiny spiders' legs sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shall we go to the lost line?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that, because we should have Lon. Hello, Lon.
You all right, mate? How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Excellent stuff. Now, I believe you've got something for us. Give it to me, baby.
It's not really an overarching theory, more of a collection of how things could be coming together.
You're prepared that if it's a load of old guff to be shot down in flames, aren't you?
Yeah.
Good lad, away you go.
All right, basically, you've got the Dharma Initiative, yeah? And whilst they were investigating the Valenzetti equation, they sort of stumbled across the power the island has to interfere with fate.
Right. They just stumbled across it?
Well, it's sort of like that's what they're investigating, to how they can change fate to change the path of humanity.
Yes.
And basically, while they were doing this, they managed to harness this power to create some kind of machine, or the box as Ben calls it.
Yes.
And this box can influence fate on the outside world to bring anything they need to the island, hence all the people being on the plane and getting brought to the island.
Right, yeah.
But whilst they were creating this machine, something went wrong, possibly the island sort of trying to stop them, and this was the incident. When it occurred, the black smoke monster was released, which is like kind of a feral version of the box itself, but it's doing whatever the island wants, so it's kind of like the island in control of its power. And so the black smoke monster is investigating people as it meets them and tries to use its kind of apparitions and powers to fool them into doing what it wants, to try and stop the others from abusing the island's power. So kind of like you've got the two forces, and they're trying to snuff each other out.
It's like a guard dog. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, what's like a guard dog? The black smoke. But we know that.
I don't like islands having their own, special powers.
Well, it's kind of got a consciousness.
I don't like that. Islands don't have conscience. What are you talking about?
Well, this is a very bizarre island. We don't know the history of, how the Black Rock got where it was.
It's a spooky island,
It's a fair point, Tom.
It doesn't have a brain, though.
Well, he's not saying that.
He's a consciousness.
He's saying it's
Well, no, there's a philosophical question. Can you have a consciousness if you don't have a brain?
And a body, and you're an island. Anyway, not to rubbish your theory or anything. I think
there's some good elements in it. Carry on.
Yeah.
Well, that was basically it. It's just that it links a lot of stuff together with how the black smoke monster meets with people, how it sort of plays with them, trying to test out whether they're good or bad, and it could possibly tie into how people like Echo are suddenly killed for no reason, as it appears to us. But possibly, remember, he was on one of the first lists that the others wanted.
Yes.
Of people that they wanted to collect from the survivors. So maybe the island saw him as a threat, but investigated him to see if he could possibly be used by the island itself. When it decided it couldn't, it just finished him off.
So why didn't it kill him in the first place?
Because he was testing him. Yes. And that's why when he actually tested him, saw whether he would repent or not to go the island's way.
But Damon Lindelof and Abraham said that there's a scientific kind of explanation behind pretty much everything.
Have they said that?
Yeah, they bloody have.
That was seasons ago, mate.
Language.
Yeah, but it's still true, though.
You want it to be true.
Okay. Lon, it's an interesting theory, although I don't think you've told us much that's new.
No, it's kind of just how things are sort of fitting together.
A little summary of what's happened so far.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Lon, anything else?
Not really.
Okay, well, listen, Lon, thank you very much for that. An interesting theory, a little bit dull, that's all. But otherwise fine. We got an email from Lamb.
Lon and Lamb. Lovely.
Having seen Exposé, I would like to present... It was a bit like Diagnosis Murder, the whole episode, wasn't it? The whole episode of Lost. Obviously, Exposé was a spoof of that genre of television programme, but the whole thing where they're looking for diamonds, and there was even the bit when, right near the beginning, when Sawyer's talking, and they started playing that kind of Diagnosis...
I loved Hurley, all Hurley's little Dick Van Dyke lines.
Yeah, it was a bit...
That'll get bleeped out.
Having seen Exposé, says Lamb, I would like to present to you my brilliant theory that the reason why Christian Shepherd's corpse has disappeared is that he is not dead because he faked his own death with a Medusa spider. I believe that he is a significant member of the others, or Dharma, so would know the island and therefore all about this special spider.
Okay. So the whole programme is about a rare species of spider.
A species?
A species of spider.
It could be a species of spider.
Species of spider.
I think that's a bit ill thought out, ill conceived, and downright stupid. Tom?
He's still alive, but probably not spider-induced.
He's alive, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to contact us with your emails or come on the Lost line, then send an email to us at lost@sky1.co.uk. Now, we discover in this episode 14 that Nikki and Paolo found the Pearl Hatch and the drug plane before everyone else. Why didn't they tell anyone?
Because they were out for themselves. They weren't bothered to, report that to
I didn't tell anyone because it was written in later on.
Yes. You do get the feeling. It was brilliantly done, this episode. Excellently done. You were talking about the intercutting with the pilot episode and the reintroduction of Ernst, and of course Ian Somerhalder just going, yes, another day's work. Fantastic, But you do get the feeling that they sort of were looking at the history of the island and thought, well, what can we do? Oh, I know, we can say they got to such and such first, and they found the plane. It felt a little bit contrived.
Yeah, remember that we put that cigarette in there? How the hell are we going to explain that? Oh,
well,
we can fit that in later on.
There was the toilet scene, wasn't there?
Yeah. The cigarette wasn't explained, though.
No, it wasn't explained, no.
Because you were jumping up and down when he went down the hatch the first time, saying, oh, we're going to see him leave his cigarette there, but he didn't.
Oh, right.
Because he wasn't smoking. But yes, the toilet connection... speaking of the toilet, yes, we also got to see Paolo eavesdropping on Ben and Juliet while he was in the lavvy.
Why are we doing this? Shepard will never agree to do the surgery.
No, I can convince him to do it.
How?
Same way I get anybody to do anything. I find out what he's emotionally invested in, and I exploit it.
So, what? We just grab all three of them, Ford and Austin, too?
No, they need to come to us.
And how do we make that happen?
Michael, of course.
Again, I thought the conversation between Ben and Juliet was a little bit...
Dry?
A little bit dry, and we only have 1 minute to fit all this information in. Let's do this. Did you not think, Paul?
No, it was fine. What was wrong with it?
All right, so, you enjoyed it, did you?
Yeah, I thought...
What did you make of it?
Yeah, Tom had a little leap out of his chair moment and going...
I thought it was good, but it was a bit contrived.
I thought it was a nice way of actually explaining or tying together that whole thing which everyone's been thinking.
I guess
why didn't they go and abduct him? And he said, no, I'll do how I,
I don't know, I kind of would have liked that in a better episode, rather than just one about two minor characters that are getting written out of the script.
All right, but what if there was no Ben and Juliet or any of those characters in this episode? You've been saying, well, where's Ben? So at least they put Ben in it. They put Ben and Juliet in the episode. So
I thought it was terrible. He said, "Oh, he's cute."
He's cute, yeah.
Jeez. She hasn't spoken like that at all.
She had nice hair.
She didn't. Yeah, she wasn't acting like a character.
No,
was
not.
she?
I don't think. I thought that when Locke sees Paolo digging the hole, I thought, well, he's not acting like Locke. It's like they're guest stars in their own show, and they're not acting as they normally would do. I don't know.
Could be a time shift.
Again, why doesn't Paolo go up to Jack and Kate and Sawyer and say, "Oh, by the way, I was in this secret hatch, right? And there's these two weird dudes, and they're going to try and kidnap you and stuff, and get you to do an operation by exploiting you." He didn't do that.
I picked up a CB radio. Probably we may be able to use it to contact people outside the island. Oh yeah, there's some video screens in there. I wonder what the hell they do.
Maybe we can use it and we can go home.
Exactly.
That was, again, the walkie-talkie. It was just like another sort of clever little trick, because there was no use of it.
It will be later. It's blatantly setting something up for later, because now they've got a CB radio, but it was a bit rubbish the way they did it.
Ben and Juliet, you didn't hear them going up the stairs.
Did you not?
There's only one way out. It must have been the stairs.
Well, is there only one way out? Because you didn't... And also, he came out...
And you said that you heard that conversation. Did you hear the conversation at the end when they said that, well, we've got to cover it up a bit more because it's looked like it's been found or something?
And also, if they would have gone up the top, they would have locked it.
Exactly, yeah.
Locking him in there. So, is there another entrance? Is there
maybe there is.
Tunnels
maybe there is.
Oh yeah, remember that on the map they're all connected, but they've been blocked off.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Well,
Go on.
I love bits like that. It's brilliant.
We won't pursue that. Now, again, the Sun was just looking fantastic in this. I really thought she looked hot.
I thought that was about time that came out, the whole Charlie and Sawyer and Son things. I'm glad that was addressed. Because, they're all good mates again, but it's...
You're not going to be good mates if someone says, oh, by the way, do you know what? You know when you got kidnapped and you're having nightmares about it a couple of weeks ago? It was me.
Yeah, the one that you thought you nearly were going to die.
Yeah. It was us. We did it. Is that right?
A lot of the fans always complain about, they never tell each other things. I'm glad that came up, because at least it's been addressed and,
Again, I think it came up in a bad way. I think Charlie confessing because suddenly he feels a bit guilty.
Yeah.
It should have been discovered where Son goes, what? Hang on, or Son should overhear them or something. I thought Charlie going, oh.
There were like a few big points that were kind of lightly brushed over in this episode that could have been huge things, big twists, like Son finding out about that.
And also, some would say, go up to Jin and say, Charlie and Sawyer, they kidnapped me. Go and beat the cack out of them.
Yeah.
And then Jin lamps in there and gives one.
Good fight.
Good fight, yeah. Okay, we've got another email. This is from James Batchelor. That's probably his real name.
Yeah, that's a sensible name.
I like
imagination,
silly names.
He sounds like James Blunt kind of singer-songwriter, doesn't he? James Batchelor.
Now, here's his email. After Hurley tells Leonard he has used the numbers, Leonard screams that Hurley has opened the box. In The Man from Tallahassee, Ben also mentions a box. So, what if the island is the box? All the characters have found something that they deeply desire. Here's a list. Echo found his brother. Charlie found a place to beat his drug addiction, already on board. John got his legs. Son is pregnant. Sawyer found Kate. Kate found a place where the law can't get her. Syed found love with Shannon. Rose found a cure for cancer. Jack potentially found his father. Michael found a place to bond with Walt. Claire will potentially find a family in Jack and someone special in Charlie. And Nikki and Paolo found work experience and speaking lines. Oh, well, that's a nice one at the end.
That could redeem it.
Well done. The list is endless if the island is literally a box, i.e. some form of dimensional rift protecting it from the real world. This would also explain why you have to know where the exit is. Michael and Walt had to leave on a bearing of 325 exactly, and why Desmond sailed for 3 weeks in the same direction and ended back up on the island. Doesn't make sense, does it, Paul?
Not really, no.
I'm
a bit lost, to be honest. Excuse the pun.
Can I just go off on a tangent a bit?
Yeah, why the hell not?
Where's Rose and Bernard?
We think that they're doing summer stock.
Oh, right, fair play.
They're in a play somewhere, and they couldn't be bothered to come back.
They've been mentioned, haven't they? They've been referenced on the island.
Someone did mention last week, I think, that I think it was Joe on the Lost Line.
Yeah.
The Lost Line, it's just a phone.
Can't ruin the magic.
Someone mentioned on the Lost Line last week that it was a sign of a time shift and that Nikki and Paolo had replaced Rose and Bernard, but I think it's just they're busy doing something else.
Funny movie.
James, rubbish, but funny about Nikki and Paolo.
But I love the box bit. I've forgotten the box bit, the Leonard bit. That's brilliant.
Yeah, those bits are good.
Did you remember that?
But saying the list is the island is literally a box.
No, no need to list it. You could have just said the island brings things that people want and they desire, and that would have been fine, But
so, Tom, good things in
this?
Bit
redundant.
I just like the mentioning going back to the whole boxing.
Okay.
At the beginning.
And one more quick email from John Blore. Now, he says, the island has the power to cause things to appear, like Jack's father, Walt drenched in water, the black horse, etc. So, I believe that what is happening is that the island gives certain people the power to make these things to appear, but in doing so, it changes the past. Well, this means that for those people or things who appear on the island, they have not just popped out of thin air, but have followed a course of events which has brought them to the island. A course of events brought about by their past being altered by someone on the island merely wishing it to be so. This could account for the entire Flight 815 plane crash. Ben may have wished that a spinal surgeon would appear on the island, and this caused the entire chain of events to unfold. Well, I think that goes without saying, doesn't it?
But that's a theory that's popular. Yeah.
Oh, John Blore's theory goes further. My theory goes further. I hypothesise that perhaps one person was originally on the island who used its power to bring other people there. As more people have arrived, perhaps some of them have also used this past-altering power to bring yet more people and things to the island, thus causing ever-increasing chaos. If you're going to send your theories, then make them decent. Tom, I mean, there's things in that I kind of like, but then it can't...
zoned out, to be honest.
It can't work properly, because to get Juliet on the island, Ben sends Ethan and that weird dude out into the real world. He doesn't go to the box and go, send Juliet to...
I don't think it can't be used
I don't like this whole box thing. I really don't. It doesn't really sit well for me. I don't like it.
I'm keen for this to find out more about this box.
To resolve itself a bit more.
How it is, and I don't think we're going to find out till next series. I think we have another caller on the Lost line. It's Arnaud.
Yeah, hello, Iain.
Hello, bonjour.
Bonjour.
J'ai 12 ans?
Yep.
That means I'm 12 years old. That's all I know in French. We'll stop there. Arnaud, what have you got for us?
Well, I've got a theory for you. There's a couple of parts to it.
Okay.
I think that the main theme of the show actually has to do with chaos theory.
With chaos theories?
Chaos theory, yes.
Chaos theory.
Chaos theory, thank you, Tom.
The idea that, the butterfly flapping its wings in the South Pacific will have, repercussions at the other end of the world.
Yes.
And the idea that every action in the world has a reaction and really nothing is due to chance.
Yes.
So based on that, basically, it's possible to really, if you're able to model those dynamics, and if you're able to process them in a big enough computer, you're able to, in a sense, predict the future.
Yes.
And I think that's what Dharma has done. They've been able to predict the future. They've discovered that mankind is headed for disaster. That's the Valenzetti equation.
I see what you mean. So that if you put in enough data into this computer from an original starting point, you can predict what all of the outcomes are going to be, and therefore what's going to happen.
Exactly. It's a little bit like a...
Sorry, Anna. Do you think that this is? Do you think that this is how Desmond is able to see what happens in the future? That somehow he's tapped into this?
I think so. I think indirectly. I think the Dharma Initiative is able to see in the future, and I think they're passing on to Desmond what he needs to know about the future.
Okay. It works for me.
I think Desmond has some clear... he has a role that he needs to play. I think his role involved pressing the button at some point.
Right.
Now his role may involve other things, such as saving... forgot the name
Charlie.
of this guy. But,
Charlie, yes, I've forgotten his name already.
Exactly. I think where the island comes in is that the Dharma Initiative at some point set out to change the course of the future.
Right.
And they discovered this island in the South Pacific, which had very powerful electromagnetic properties. And they basically built up this machinery to be able to harness those properties. And again, it's back to the idea of the butterfly flapping its wings. And if you're really, basically, they're able to harness the power of the island very precisely to basically impact the environment.
Oh, no, okay, listen,
them.
I'm going to interrupt you there. Tom, you were nodding along to that.
I quite like it because he's actually come along and basing it all on science rather than just it's a magic box and what everyone wishes it comes out. Stuff comes out. That's right. This is.
I think he's talking a lot of sense.
Yeah, he's got a bit more. Yeah.
But Tom, aren't they interconnected then? Because he says, I don't know what you did, John, but you caused something to happen. So if it's about chaos theory, which is what's been discussed now, that is the box then. So they're not two separate items; they can be connected.
Well, I just don't like the way this whole spiritual side of it. I like the whole science.
Supposing the box is there for a computer, superbrain computer.
Exactly.
There's a computer attached to the box, and I'm happy about that.
But it's still chaos theory, isn't it?
Doesn't need a brain.
So what do you think the monster is?
Well, the monster, I'm not too sure, but I've got a theory about who the Losties are. I think basically what Dharma set out as well is because they're able to predict in the future, they're able to identify key individuals around the world whose destiny is going to precipitate the fall of mankind. And that's what Jack and all those guys, at some point, they were going to do things in the future that were going to precipitate the fall of mankind. So I think what Dharma does, they identify those key individuals.
He's good.
They abduct them. They brainwash them, and then they release them back into the world so that instead of having a negative influence on the world, they start having a positive influence on the world.
Tell you
this is good. This is heavy stuff. It's good.
Let's make a series out of this.
I'd watch this.
I would watch
Put this on Sky. I'd watch it. They'd get another 10 million subscribers.
Exactly.
Paul, any comments you want to make there?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I like the analysis of it. It's good.
Oh, no, listen, we're going to have to move on because we're running out of time. Can I say you're probably the most sensible caller we've ever had on the Lost Line.
Amazing.
Would you
Thank you.
get in touch with us again in the future?
Sure. I mean, I've got a bunch of other stuff, so I'll just email it back to you.
Email it back to us. Says, need a cup of tea. But thank you for that. Take care.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, that was good. That was good.
That was meaty.
Sense.
That felt like a big steak.
It was logical. It worked for me. Even Tom is agreeing.
I know, it just made sense, doesn't it? Everything worked, so...
Well, you've heard how it can be done. If you want to come on the Lost line, I don't think you can be as good as Arnaud, then you send us your theories, your telephone number, or whatever you want to lost@sky1.co.uk. But do be warned, if your theories are rubbish, you will give you a right telling off. OK, listen, that's all we've got time for, except, Paul Terry, in one sentence, can you summarise what you learned, what you got from this show?
Nicky and Paolo seem to have been there from the start.
Geeky Tom, one sentence, what did you make of this show?
They're getting better at spreading out the episodes. I want another plot-driven one.
Well, I think you might get one next week. Episode 15 is on Sunday, 10pm on Sky 1. It's repeated Wednesday, 10pm, and then on Sky 2, Friday at 9pm.
Yeah.
And we'll be here once again right after episode 15. Left Behind has been on your television. I'm Iain Lee, and until then, namaste.
The Lost Initiative is a co-ink production for Sky One.